Hey everybody, got a what should be a really simple fix. Got my daughter's 2002 GMC Envoy. Used to be mine, but I gave it to her after she did the maintenance on it for a year. She did everything herself when she was 15 until she was 16. Had to replace the starter, the oil, front diff, rear diff. But now she is, when we put the parking brake on and the car is in gear, apparently it is rolling. So let's take a look at this. Got it in gear. Yep, and there it goes. So parking brake is not working. See, there we go. Not holding the car, despite the fact that we got it engaged. So we're going to take a look at that and see if we can fix it. Hopefully I just have to tighten it up a little bit. Okay, I got the wheel off. First thing we're going to have to do is there's a bolt here and another one down here. Take those two bolts off and then the caliper will come off. We'll set the caliper aside and then we'll be able to get the brake pads off and put new brake pads on. Okay, I got the two bolts out here. Now you can see I'm just sliding this caliper off. Get it off. Set it off to the side there. And now we're going to remove these brake pads. Okay, I got off the brake mounting bracket. It is mounted on with two bolts. I will put the actual torque specs down below for when we have to mount this back on. You're going to need a breaker bar or a torque wrench to get those off. Very difficult. And then as well, the GMC, or at least mine, had these little rings that help hold the rotor on. You're going to have to get those off. They're kind of a pain in the neck to get off, but once you got those off, then you'll be able to get the rotor off, and once you got the rotor off, then we'll be able to adjust the parking brake. So there we go, I got the rotor off, and here is the little nozzle that we're going to be adjusting. We're going to turn it up or down, and then that will move these out or down, which will make your parking brake either tighter or looser. It's a 50-50 shot. I can't remember which direction, so I'm going to try turning it up first, see if that does it. If it doesn't do it, then I'll show you guys turning it down to get this to tighten. Alright, so you can see I got the rotor off, and now I need to tighten up this little thing right here, which will expand out the parking brake and will tighten it up. So basically you're just going to want to get your screwdriver back here, and you just pull it up a little bit, and that will make the wheel turn like that. And it's just a little bit every time. You can see this gap here between this and the wheel. It's going to get longer, and that's expanding out the parking brake, which will tighten it up so when you engage the parking brake, it'll actually keep your wheels from spinning. So I'm going to go ahead and crank this a little bit. I've already been cranking it on some. And you can see I actually got it out to the point now where if I put the rotor on, I actually won't be able to get the rotor on. So I'm going to have to loosen it up so that I can get the rotor on, but have it tight enough that when I engage the e-brake and this thing expands, it'll actually keep the wheel from turning. So as you can see, I can't even get the rotor on because I got the parking brake too far engaged. So I'm now, before I was turning it so that it was going down in this direction, and now I'm going to reverse it and turn it the other direction so that it goes this way. That'll loosen it up. I'll get it loose to the point that I can actually get the rotor on. And then now I know that if I engage the e-brake, which is going to pull and is going to expand out that e-brake, it'll engage the rotor. So you got to get it small enough to get the rotor on, but tight enough that when you engage it, it'll actually hold it in place. Okay, so I got it loose enough that I can get the rotor on, but tight enough that it's almost like a quarter turn off so that I know that when I engage the parking brake that it's actually going to hold the wheel in place. I put these little rings back on. I'm going to put the calipers back on, put the wheel back on, and she should have a parking brake now that will actually keep her from rolling.